not ready? The U.S. military relies on the forced labor of countless non-human animals to do the most dangerous tasks. This logic is rooted in the reduction of the animal to nothing more than a rifle, another thing to be used and tossed away when finished, poured and poured. That's been used in every war, guarding Paris military bases, individual soldiers to lay over telephone wire around no hands on telephone service, and you were shot at dogs in the U.S. military do not retire. Military working dogs are considered living no different from the LKC rifles. Dogs are simply terminated. Often sea lions, even walls used to spot sea mines in the Persian Gulf, pigeons, as well as hierarchies have been used as warning devices against biological weapons in the Persian Gulf and Iraq and Morocco. Offered by the U.S. military 2,000 monkeys whose sole purpose was to detonate landmines. Animals were deployed because of the duties where they carried out were considered to be too dangerous for human and combatants to drop fell into the lives of men and less than the humans. And the introduction of animals as objects into warfare creates a longing for a false peace via animal death, the eternal force of warfare between deontologized non-humans whose death doesn't matter. Sultry and 14. The ideological assumptions from which the animal industrial complex emerged in the central interdiction of animals in the battlefield, the acceptance of the deontologizing of certain species alongside the interpositioning of their roles in saving human lives as the key features of the military and industrial complex, reintroducing the enhanced animal in the battlefield embodies as effective visions of peacetime governance in the shape and less costly without the human suffering and removal surgeons the front line replace the lives of other animal subjects are made into models and the reproduce of the human animal divided pushes to located socio-political context and animal societies and clear combatants in the military animal industrial complex. The insertion of animals into warfare is rooted in the ambivalence of the lives that one can accommodate the exploitation of the animal bodies and the research that are separate military agendas, and the deontologizing of the non-human allows for the continuation of the human project, the creation of a subject who can expel other subjects from value. This balance modernity and civil society writ large, while well in none. The humanism expression for the animal that has gone beyond itself. The humanism reminding the close proximity of the animal life through the continual bleeding of borders between the human and the animal. The categorization of the distinguishes human from the ape anomaly. The continual compression of the distinction between the human and animal defines by survival. The is not merely politics of life, but politics is concerned with the articulation of borders between human and the animal. This is a site of political conflict governs any of the conflict of political spaces found on the exclusion of the animal. This is a historical reminder that the continuing victory of the conflict between humans and animals. The First World War, which politics originated in the correlates between the distinction between the civilization and nature bias and the zone and the mythology is between the political space requires the sublimation of aggression to the forms of apparent peace and war is carried out by the other means political space has from the domination of the animal life the apparatus that do not portray the therefore we find this evidence where the legalist control and the regulation of those are moving the reproductive control holes in the law enables violent forms of relationality and death in the name of virtue of these that should come to continue to plunder this relationship of domination in the Western sovereignty the circumstances of the war in the animals and unimaginable because of this scale victory the two intoxication of power that guarantees them and the defeat of the losers and the liberal subject for nation is a nexus point for global violence. The attempt to define what is or is not a life worthy of ethical value creates endless wars of unimagined enemies of humanity. Evans and 10. Imposing liberalism is commenced on pressing human resource or liberal peace predicated on the elimination of the political differences. The more peace is commanded, the more wars declared for the achievement of the liberals are committed to making the word liberalism stands accused of the universalizing war. Liberal worlds profoundly shaped by the word of these wars no longer ready for the possibility of the victory of peace of project becomes illegal and in process is how possible the global civil war. All life is openly recruited needs for ISIS Eric's turning the global civil war and fall between the modalities of life itself. Liberalism against the mastery of those questions of life and that the unification of the species form is a word that's always been aligned with forms of life. Humanity itself is a more meaningful expression of the battles of wage in the name of destiny. Humanity wage on the necessity is political strategy from the present perspective of the global insurgency of the global civil rights and by a political sport. Always life becomes dangerous to emerge from the liberal imagination. The violence can only be sanctioned against the needs of humanity and what is necessary. The global species necessarily regarded new moral aspect and the willing to commit to the ideas against the ontological commitment, the political difference, racism, and peace, and thoroughly modified political life or trace commitment to the supremacy of the crashes of one race and total I'm the normal against those who deviate. The third is not the dangers of is this when the entire population mobilizes the purpose of wholesale slaughter massacres have been combined with killing millions and indirect murder and exposing the someone's death versus makes possible through the disqualification of political actions for our stakes becomes a more calculated use military or frightening and learn to mourn the nameless dead animal soldiers. Objectification and presumption of animal otherness is a constantly ongoing process that we should reject. McCormick and 14. Mass terms are made for the subject being diminished. What will we do with the death? This demarcates this as humans after genocide. Survivors think of the bodies buried in mass grave and try to reassert to the appearance of one's individuality and annihilation. The mass term went on humans beings are converted into the false mass that enabled their conversation into products. We come to believe that there is no manner animals are killed and dying individually. Structures that death would we care for inches. We have a wage campaign against the compassion of the love for the horse to continue the genocide required. There is no care about the happiness happens to someone labeled an animal. No one can deny that present and proportion that subjection of the animal even the two direct vice feeling submission to the authority requires justification and evil worse as a result. It becomes a justification for killing through caring individuals. Discover by the way the party and the organism the same thing in the caring of all the griefs of what is happening as long as we treat animals as animals, as long as we accept that there is a category of animals, both the treatment and the concept will legitimize the treatment of humans like animals, and mourning the animal opens us up to a political subjectivity based on our constitutive lack that begins with a noble alterity and multiplicity of the other, or stance new, no date. Butler develops vulnerabilities and nothing. We are having to convert the kills in the house. So yeah, the capacity of being together, precarious senses, way thinking, and actions, and understanding precariousness, and how the ethics begin with the other, and rather than the self-precariousness is always already clear on the precariousness, understanding the precariousness, and understand what's embodied depending on the various conditions of reality, shared vulnerability produces important the common contingency of the turning on ontological lens of the precariousness. So we begin the process of reconceiving ontology and appropriate anthropocenic characters, reconceiving life skills of the systemic relations of ontology, the human and non-superficial ontology of the animals, the questions you categories that overlap with the Kogan's situation based on the shared embodiment that becomes a way of addressing the violent political realities in every situation or system of immunity against the vulnerability that we have wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and practice and nuclear weapons that protect us. We welcome millions of people in the United States to protect us, and so on. Immunity is always a function of disavow, the refusal to confront the shared embodiment of the finality. It is also allowing the animality. We can also allow the precariousness to do this, just everything, all these political and ethical questions that never requiring warning the determining which lives count as the lives of constitutional future who we are under. That's a very conceited and essential of the powerful is not to make us unique, but what to make us in common. The precarious because we will all die mourning the system is such like this notion of the existence and it's when we mourn are rendered as spectacular spectral haunted by those who mourn. Those are the mourner how they are not left with the condition of mourning is a disorientation one in the timeline is the testament of the shared embodiment or to protect keeping us together in the monuments and the collective action that are possible constituted by those who are grieve as those who that's like this about mourning. They must celebrate in the grievances of precarious lives to seek connections, discovers the secret kinship and organized active relations. We have to risk our own coherence so that we can demand that certain lives be socially intelligible. Mourning has the possibility of introducing community, so social reality those who also mourn and passing on life and start to make our ghostly connections with slaughtered animals real. We will also make connections with others. It is all change at any moment and every time in itself is iterated the greatest possibility for change, and we therefore ask the question of the animal and our resolved animal should not be used by the United States federal government in any capacity, including military presence, and therefore we offer up this ballot as a political space in memory of those countless non-subjects who have died. Enact your agency in the here and now to symbolically redirect politics away from the human to open up the political to an ethic that can enact a refusal of animal exclusion. Call it in 13. The true political space is compensation for the tour. Right now, encounter this necessary includes animals as constituted outside of the humanity. How to respond to the dynamic got to be central question of the scholarship who were in the place of animals that died in the offer shop from this person, this papers, is the place of the non-subject of the political space. Animals and hundreds and millions of animals living on the nightmares and animals reason in the ocean. He was born first before the name of the subject was bringing the dust of the belief of the human subjectivity is firmly lodged in the simple matter of inserting the excluded in the dominant political order in the judicial right. That's how those exclusion are order the condition of being. And when confronted with the always other, the animal, the only question is how do you respond to conventional anthropocentric ordering attempts to define a limiting of logic of inclusion exclusion in response to the alterity of the animal other. Instead, prefer the animal to thickening and proliferation of limits and boundaries to account for the multiplicity of the other. Bruns and 8. The alterity of its kind tells us his ability to respond to another experience themselves as the experience of passivity is flushed against it and uninterpretedly unreadable. The gate called upon on the animal offers us like the abysmal limit of the human in a border crossing room which the vantage being there soon announce themselves and therefore calling themselves the name and they believe they themselves and then moments of nakedness and under the gates of the animal life can happen. And to me, I'm like a child ready for the apocalypse of border crossing and won't know which human or human but a human horizons of any kind of a zone of indistinction. The outcuts and neither one thing or the other. The world of the border, a percentage the context of the subjection of the animal and the violence of modernity that we need to insert the animal. Let's make the claim that means a starting philosophy all again. We think how we figure the borders and separates others from layering usually into inventing new words. Not to say that we can port ourselves with respect to them, not to erase the line that separates us. As if there were no such things as differences, or rather multiplicity of dimensions, the question of the animal becomes interesting once instead of asking whether or not to discount the limit. One attempts to think about the limit become no longer a single indivisible line, but more of an internally divided line that can no longer be traced, objectified, and counted as single indivisible. The border is not fixed, it is not generic, or historical, local, or variable. Therefore, open to exploration of experimentation and means, first of all, breaking down the word of the animal, the philosophical tradition that speaks in the animal, the category to point the term animal, the dream of the absolute hospitality and the infinite appropriation. How well deliberated so many animal words work as the multiplicity of the animals, the multiplicity replace the general categories and matter of talking about how the multiplicity of the structures and the limits of non-humans, the separate form, and non-humans is the immense multiplicity of the living beings that cannot always be homogeneous except by the means of violence and willful ignorance. Okay, ignorance.
Okay, are you open for cross-X?
Yeah.
Cool. Joe votes asks, does the TSA stop using bomb-sniffing dogs?
No.
Cool. So are animals still subservient to the will of humans after Joe votes aft?
Well, Joe voting aft doesn't stop the TSA from doing anything.
It doesn't stop the military either.
Our question is Joe votes for a particular ethical orientation to the world.
What is ethics in relation to non-human animals? Because ethics is a humanist concept that you're affirmative rejecting.
I would say we are a form, I guess I would say, of like anti-ethics or rejection.
You're an anti-ethic by affirming ethics.
like this
I
is
don't
a
understand
semantic
that.
distinction.
It's not a semantic difference.
Fine,
You are using enlightenment
Joe
era
picks
ethics
an orientation that is anti-ethical to human dominance.
Cool. What piece of 1AC evidence substantiates your anti-ethics?
So evidence indicates that the will of the human is to control over the non-human, and the disruption of that will is something that has to come to grips with the alterity of the animal.
Cool.
The
So what does it mean to be compassionate in the world of the negative?
To be
And then
compassionate.
affirmative.
Mourning is not about
Be
compassion.
compassionate.
Mourning is not about compassion.
You mentioned compassion multiple times in the 1AC. You
I
said
don't think
there's a
Like,
lack
are
of
you-
compassion.
When
I'm
do you say
asking,
that?
what does it mean to be compassionate?
Oh yeah, there's a lack of compassion for the animal. The
Yes,
mourning is not
that's
strategy to
the
give
question.
them
What does it
compassion.
mean to be compassionate?
Like, are you talking about like?
In the context of the 1AC, what does it
We don't
mean to be
advocate
compassionate
compassion, but in the status
towards
quo,
the
there-
animal?
we don't advocate that, but
We
there's
say
in
that
the
the ballot
status
should
quo.
operate as a site of mourning for the animal because it's
Yeah.
never regarded in this space.
Cool. So why should politics and political subjectivity be open?
Why should it be open?
Yes, why
It's
should it be
open to death. That's the point of our Derrida cat example, where Derrida, in the eyes of his cat, he is the child waiting the apocalypse. He sees the alterity
What
of
does
the
it mean
other.
to be open to death?
He can never know that other, which means that respect that difference means not to
Why should
incorporate that
Derrida know
difference
the
into
other?
himself. He doesn't. That's the point.
We're
He
saying that keep it
unknows
open for the
himself. He
alterity of
undoes
the
himself.
How does Derrida undo himself?
Because he rejects his capacity to like put onto the cat what does this cat thinking when he's looking at my nakedness, at my penis specifically in the context of Derrida's nakedness.
Okay,
That was
cool.
what the card.
So
I'm
what
not-
is Leanima, whatever you, the Lani.
L'animal.
What is that?
It's Derrida's playing on words. It's a French word that doesn't really exist. Derrida combines it to mean literally multiple animal and word at the same time, which is sort of a play on the idea that the animal fixes under a particular set, like you're either animal or not animal.
So why shouldn't we have that particular set, that difference between animal and non-animal?
No,
Why
we
is
should
that
have
bad?
difference. We should have difference. We shouldn't just invest difference with value such that we kill those things that blur the line.
Okay, so we shouldn't blur it.
What do you mean by that?
You just,
Like endorse a thickening of the line.
what does that mean?
Like, we think that differences should be respected. We shouldn't collapse the human-animal divide, but that those value differences shouldn't be invested with the value that says if you don't meet this difference, you ought to be killed or hurt or whatever.